All right, everyone. Welcome to the LinkedIn profile event. My name is Abdulaziz. I'm a fourth year student at the University of Windsor, as you all know, and this year I was nominated to be the career advisor for the Computer Science Society, filling in the shoes of our well known Harshdeep. A little background about me is that I've completed two internships. One was this summer with a startup called The Least Genius, and one was with the Ontario Treasury Board last summer. Both of them were, both of them were different roles, but they were pretty, informative, and I learned a lot from those two experiences that I want to help the people of Computer Science Society and the people of the CS faculty and helping them land the job of their dreams, regardless of the company, rather it be a fan company or if it might just be a regular company that is located within Canada. So the number one thing when it comes to your LinkedIn profile to stand out is your headshot. Your headshot is the first thing that any recruiter or any sort of person from a company will view, because when they search up your name, usually majority of the time there'll be a little blurb around your name that will have your headshot. And even when they arrive at your profile page, you want something looking professional as your profile picture. Um, and there's many ways to do this. You could simply dress up, and if you have a white background, you can take a headshot with your phone. Also, I'm not sure how it works in COVID, but before COVID, the university would have photographers come in and take headshots for students. So I'm not sure if that'll happen this year. Hopefully it does. If it does, usually it's ran through like departments. So I think when I had my headshot taken, it was through like the CS department and co-op, like in collaboration. So ensure that you have a headshot or some sort of professional picture that can, that showcases your professionalism. Following that, you need to make sure that you have anything that the recruiter might be looking for. So if you're active on GitHub, then you might want to link your GitHub repository, or if you have a online website, you might also want to link your online website with your portfolio, your projects, etc. And you can also link your resume. This is a 50-50. So what I mean by that is that it is completely up to you to link it, because you need to think that if I want a recruiter to reach out, I don't want them to have access to my resume. I want them to reach out to get my resume so that they can look at my resume and I build a contact with them. At the same time, providing them the resume beforehand lets them see what type of skills that you have and how, if they have positions that that could work at their company with the skills that you have on your resume. So this is something that is very 50-50, hit or miss. I usually don't link my resume in my GitHub, in my LinkedIn profile, and just because I want them to reach out to me and build a contact with them. So if you feel like you have a strong enough profile that if a recruiter looks at it, you're just gonna get hits because you have like two, three, or you have projects that are very complex, then you can link your GitHub slash resume to your LinkedIn profile and have it on display using Google Drive or just the GitHub repository, because LinkedIn has the insert links utilization. And then following that, you want to have your experience and extracurriculars on your profiles as well. So your extracurriculars are key because they obviously show how you're participating within your university, or how you're participating between maybe like in a GitHub open source project, etc. As well, your experience obviously matters regardless if it's like related to computer science or if it's not. You want to have that experience on your GitHub because it shows that you've done some sort of work and you have some sort of experience. Now that experience doesn't necessarily have to be like, you don't need to constantly update your LinkedIn profile and have the experience necessary to a job. You can obviously just have all the experience that you've previously done, and just whatever bullet points you use in your resume that you describe your role and what you did at the job, you can also put that under the description of your job when you put it on LinkedIn, just because that helps the recruiter also know that what type of work you did. etc. How long you worked there, what type of work did you do, what was your role, etc. And it also helps to showcase to the recruiter that you know how to formulate a professional page on your LinkedIn. It shows that you can be descriptive about the work that you did, and you basically knew what you were doing when you were working at a specific place. So just to show you on the LinkedIn profile itself. So this is my own personal LinkedIn. As you know, I have a headshot right here. This was taken through the university. Your background picture doesn't. It's completely up to you. Some people tend to have a coding background. Other people will tend to have the skyline of a city like myself, and other people will just have whatever suits them. So you want something that's not anything too weird. You just maybe want the skyline of a city, or you want like code in the background, etc. The second part is your experience. So here, these are my experiences. So the first one, obviously, your LinkedIn will be sorted like from latest to earliest. Basically, whatever was the last type of work experience you did will be at the top. So mine was at my current internship that I'm at right now, which was with the Leeds Genius, and then this was last year's. And these three were basically like my previous work experience slash extracurriculars. Um, that you can also have while you're at that you can also have just here under experience. It can be the win hacks, any extracurriculars. You can also put it here, but you can also put it under volunteer experience if it's if it's like experience that actually matters to a job, then have it under experience. But if it's just extracurriculars that you help to organize, like you're a member of WinHacks, then you can have that under extracurriculars, and you can talk about your project, etc. So the next thing would be there's a section in your LinkedIn profile that's called About. In that section, what you necessarily want to have is a little bit obviously about yourself, but also what you're looking for. So you could talk about like it's our 200 word cap. So you need to be very concise and to the point. Usually, what I would recommend is you state what year you're in and what type of opportunities you're looking for and what skills you have. And keep it just to like 3 sentences. So your first sentence will be I'm in this year. I am looking for, say, a software engineering internship in summer of 2022. And I would be open to roles about back end, front end, DevOps, whatever you're trying to look for. Okay? And like I said, in that you're going to talk about who you are and what type of job you're looking for. And you can also obviously talk about the skills that you have and why those skills would make you a strong candidate. So you can say that you've done this many years in. If you're talking about front end, you can say that I've worked with React or Bootstrap for this many years, and I've done work in TypeScript or some sort of JavaScript or HTML, CSS, etc. And make sure that you use keywords. So if you're gonna talk about skills, then make sure that so if you say JavaScript, talk about the library that you use with JavaScript. If you did, if you're just talking about JavaScript, then explain what you used within JavaScript and like how you build something. Or when you're talking about your skills, you mainly want to talk about how you developed those skills and what you used those skills for, what you applied those skills on, etc. So that's the first part of the presentation itself, where we talk about the LinkedIn profile and the various tabs of the LinkedIn profile. Just to give an in-depth, so this is where your about is itself. So here, for me, sorry, this is where your about is, and basically what you want, like for myself, I have the year that I'm in, and the opportunities that I'm looking for. For myself, I didn't go that much in depth into what skills I would want to showcase and display, just because if I did, then this would become a massive paragraph, and I don't want that to happen. But if you necessarily have a skill that you're particularly proud of, say like you're an expert in Python, then put that on there, because that will show to the recruiter or whoever is looking at your profile that, hey, this person really enjoys working in Python, and if I have a Python role, you know, there could be a match, right? So that's the first thing. And then the second thing, obviously, would be the experience that I talked about. You want to have all the experience that you have done over X amount of years, regardless if it applies to the job, if it doesn't. You can rearrange the experience as well, but you want to make sure that if your experience applies to the job that you're looking for, so obviously if it's a software ends job and you've done, say, like a front end job before, you want to go in depth and talk about like the various, make like bullet points about what you did and how you tackled it, what technology you used, etc. And you can also talk about like your extracurriculars. Like I said that I was co-founder of WinHacks, and I talked about what I did at WinHacks and how I helped at WinHacks. So you can also go in depth about your extracurriculars and what you did if it pertains to the the job itself. And it's just good to have bullet points because it showcases you knew what you were doing, and when the recruiter looks at it, she can just read the summary of the bullet points and understand what you did while you were working at a specific place, which makes it easier for them to match jobs that if they think that you might be a good fit for. Majority of the times what recruiters will do is they'll look at your profile and then they'll send you a message if they think that your profile matches with the role that they have at their current company. Okay, your next section is obviously education. That's pretty self-explanatory. You just have your degree. If your GPA is above 80 or 85, you can put that also on there, and you can have your activities and extracurriculars that you are currently that are affiliated with the university. Following that, you have your licenses and certifications. So if you've completed online courses on LinkedIn Learning, which is free actually through the university, or Udemy, or some other type of site that provides courses, then you can add those certifications onto LinkedIn and showcase them because it helps for the recruiter to see that you've done some. So say you don't have experience within AWS, but you've done a course on AWS. It helps to show the recruiter that, hey, I've done courses on AWS and I know what AWS is about. I just need experience, and they might take that chance and give you the interview, or get in touch with you to land a role, or work with them to figure out what your skill level is on AWS or any other specific topic. So LinkedIn Learning is a very good tool because the university at least the computer science department provides a paid, like it provides the courses to us. Like if you go on LinkedIn Learning, you'll be able to get all these various type of courses that I also have on my profile itself, and you can do those courses and learn about AWS, cybersecurity, JavaScript. So I highly recommend looking into those if you don't have the necessary experience for a job, but you really want to get a job, say within that field. Say you want a cybersecurity job, but you don't have the experience of cybersecurity, like cryptography, etc. But you want to still learn about cybersecurity and have some knowledge about it. Then take a LinkedIn Learning course on it. It might help. The last section is obviously the second last section is volunteer experience. So this can be your volunteer experience / extracurriculars, and basically you can talk about what you did and while at this volunteer experience, what you worked on, and if it relates to a job or if it relates to just making yourself look professional, add it. It helps to showcase to the recruiter that, hey, I did this type of work even though I was volunteering. And it's a good thing because obviously adds to your LinkedIn page and makes it look more professional. The last section is obviously your skills. This is probably one of your top areas that you want to focus on. LinkedIn only lets you pick 3 courses to have in your top 3. So pick the top 3 courses that you think, or top 3 skills that you think you're most professional at, and have them on pinned in your LinkedIn profile. So for myself, it's Python, Java, and Node.js. Okay, and LinkedIn also has the assessment badges. This is completely up to you. If you want to do the assessment, it's 15 multiple choice questions that LinkedIn will give you, and all you need is an 80% or higher, and you get the badge. These badges are nice to have. They're not. They don't, provide any sort of edge or anything. But what they do is they let the recruiter know that you have some sort of skill within this programming language. And they also, another thing is, because when you complete these badges, you'll get if you want, you'll get job notifications that align with that badge. So say I completed the Python badge, I usually get a ping from LinkedIn saying that there's this company that is showcasing, that's promoting this job that you have a badge in Python. So it helps to see what the market is and what companies are looking for if you have these badges, but by no means that they're necessary to to make your profile look stronger. So, but you only want to pick your top 3 skills. You can have all your other skills, and there's no doubt, like all the ones that I have here. But LinkedIn will only let you pick top 3. Okay. Following that, your accomplishments. Usually here you'll have all the courses that you've taken over your time in your degree. And you can also have, if you made the Dean's Honors Lit Roll or others, if you got a scholarship for something, you can have that here, which showcases obviously to the recruiter that, hey, I've done these type of courses and I have this many. I got this scholarship in this year for having an above 90 average, etc. And overall, that's what your LinkedIn profile is. And so, to just recap, the 3 main things you should focus on is obviously your experience, your about, and your skills slash licenses. Licenses are optional, so don't feel necessary that hey, I need to do these courses. They're completely optional, but your skills are something you should really focus on and ensure that the skills that you pick are something that relate to the job that you want. Because at the end of the day, if you excel in those skills, you obviously want a job in that field, and that shows to the recruiter itself that hey, these are my top 3 skills, and it's based up to them if those skills work with whatever they're looking for. So for now, I'll stop right here if anyone has questions about the LinkedIn section, and then we'll switch over to cold emailing slash messaging.
I have a question.
Sure.
When do you know when to start cutting out stuff from your LinkedIn?
Um,
At what point do I have to stop adding stuff and select what I need to have on my LinkedIn profile? Be
so
hired.
if you're talking, so are you talking from like your experience standpoint, or are you talking about extracurriculars?
Both, because if you include experiences, like if you have an experience section and
Hmm.
you include both your extracurriculars and your work experience, it
Hmm.
gets crowded, right?
Yeah. So primarily, what I try to keep, what I try to do is I'll try to have my most up to date experiences obviously on there. So, but at the same time, if I have like 10 different experiences, I'll try to have maybe my top 4. Or 3, depending on how descriptive you are about something. Top 4 or 3 experiences that I think that showcase the skills that I have. So if say at one experience you worked on Python and at another job you worked on Java, so you could have those 2, right? But I also at the same time I wouldn't want to have 2 Python experiences and 1 Java experience, 1 C experience. I would have one of each, and I would obviously pick my where I worked the most well, and if it comes to it, then you might also have to reach out to the person that you worked with as like reference, or to the job, whatever it may be. So usually, what I try to do is I'll try to keep 3 to 4 if I have more than 4 experiences, 3 to 4 experiences on my experience side, and for extracurricular, depending on how it relates to the job market, I would say also 3 to 4. So, say an extracurricular that you did was you helped set up a spikeball tournament. I don't think that really, um, you know, showcases or adds any value to your LinkedIn profile. But if you have more than 3 to 4 experiences in extracurriculars, I would pick your top 3 or 4 based off how descriptive you are and add those. And I would also try to keep it like each one unique. So one can be about your work in Python, the next can be about front end, the next can be about back end, whatever the mix that you want.
Mhm. Yeah. And do you ever go back and edit your LinkedIn profile before reaching out to a certain recruiter or something to cater your profile, or should you just have one
So
proper template, basically?
So usually I
Call it a day.
keep my profile the same. What I will try to do when I reach out is actually cater the cold message or email that I'm about to send. So obviously in that email or message I will give them my resume, but I'll try to formulate the message to the job posting that they have available on their site. So I'll talk more about it, but just to give a brief overview, I would usually what I'll do before I message them is I'll do my research and see what type of people they recruit. Let it be front end engineers, back end engineers, R&D, DevOps. Based off that, and then I would try to formulate a message using the job description that is posted on the company's website, and see if I can get a hit with them.
Hmm.
Any other questions? All right, then I guess we could move on to the second part, which is cold emailing and messaging. So, cold emails slash messaging is one of the methods to get attention of recruiters on LinkedIn and over the email at any company. It's a it's a method that you need to put in a lot of effort, and majority of the time you're not going to get hits, just because recruiters get tons and tons of cold. Like, you're not the only one that's cold email slash messaging them. So a lot of the times they won't really respond to you. But when you do get that first response from them, it really helps because it might be like an interview, or it might be for them to get to know more about you, etc. And basically, when you're writing a cold email slash message, your aim is to showcase your skills, your experiences, and how those skills and experiences, tie and make a connection to the job. If it's a back end job, you obviously want to talk about, like developing APIs or working with, back end technologies like Flask, for example. If the company is, looking for someone that's written APIs, etc. And you want to talk about what your experience is and how it connects to that job posting. And at the same time, you don't want to come off too strong on them. You might want to just send them a short email that they can quickly read and get back to their day. So when you're writing this message, you need to ensure that you have no grammar errors, and it has a kind tone to the message. So you don't want to sound like too strong, or like you don't want to write a paragraph, like a long essay about why you think you're a good fit for the job, etc. Right? You just want to just briefly write out maybe like 3 to 5 sentences about the job, the skills that you have, and why you think you're a good fit. Attach your resume, and then you just send it to them, and you hope that you get a message back. So this is a template that you can use, and usually when you message a recruiter, either you're asking for a referral, which 9 out of 10 times is what you'll get, that a person will refer you, or they might be in charge of that job itself, and they might forward your CV or your resume directly to towards whoever the hiring manager is. And from there, it's up to the hiring manager to give you an interview, and then they'll get back to you. So in this one, you notice that whoever the person is, that he says, "Hi, Danny. I saw you joined Apple 2 years ago. How have you enjoyed the work environment in the engineering department since moving there?" And it's a nice way to start because he doesn't just get into all of his skills and technical expertise and how he thinks is a good fit for a job. He tries to build a connection first. Saying that I saw that you're at this company, and I think the work that company is doing is very great, etc. And that's how you usually want to start a cold email slash message. You want to just build a connection. So you want to first make that connection of what company they work for and why you want to work for that company. And following that, you want to send them a message saying that I'd like to discuss more about it. Um, you know, um, Talk about why you want to talk to them, and then you can ask them that I saw that this job posting was posted on Indeed or LinkedIn or their company website, and you can ask them about the skills that job posting's looking for, and whoever's if they can connect you with the person that's responsible for that role, etc. So usually when you're formulating your message, the first thing you want to do is you want to make a connection. Once you've made that connection, you want to ask them about the role, and explain to them about what type of skills, or what type of what type of person are they looking for that role. Is it a new grad? Is it an internship? Majority of the time it's going to be internships, but majority of the time you want to focus on the skills that person that role has, and see if that person that you just messaged or emailed can either connect you with the person that's responsible for that role, or if they can connect you directly with the hiring manager. And then you can talk more about you know about the the job itself, and why you think you're a good fit for the job itself. Okay, so one of the best ways, so a little bit more about networking now, is one of the best ways to get referrals or to get to know someone that works within a company is through networking. Uh, so networking can be done in various ways. But there's the three ways that I'll talk about that I think are the most effective ways. The first one would obviously be through hackathons or career fairs. Obviously, at Windsor, we have two hackathons. One's we have Border Hacks, and we also have Win Hacks. But there's various vast amount of hackathons that are happening almost monthly. There's 3-4 hackathons happening, and that can obviously be found on MLH. And I would recommend getting into hackathons because not only do they let you network, but they also let you build your experience and build your projects that you can add to your resume. And those are necessary because the more up-to-date experience and projects that you have, the better it looks on your resume because it shows that you've been active. The second would be through LinkedIn. Obviously, there's a large amount of recruiters on LinkedIn. If you don't have premium, LinkedIn lets you send an X amount of connections per week. So I wouldn't recommend just bombarding. If you want, you can, and I'm guilty of it. But you can send hundreds of LinkedIn connections per week, and obviously you could cold email them, cold message them, and see if they get back to you. And I know many people that have done this and actually landed gotten interviews with a company that they wanted to work for. One of my friends, he simply just cold emailed a bunch of Apple recruiters, and he landed a interview for a job with Apple. And then the third one would obviously be through friends and family. Friends and family would probably be the easiest way to get that referral and actually get your foot into the door ahead of everyone else, just because those people are reliable, them, and you can follow up on them. And that's a good way to actually um, build your network as well, because they will connect you with the right people as well. if possible. So those are the top three ways. And when you begin to network, look for meaningful connections. So, like the point that I said, don't just go on a rampage of 100 connections, like just sending out connect links to everyone. If you don't know them, or if you don't know that the roles that they're looking out for, like you might message an Apple recruiter, but that Apple recruiter is recruiting for people in the field of business, not in the field of computer science. There's no point in that connection, right? There's no meaning. Like, you don't know what type of insight they provide to you. Even if they do connect with you and say you message them, they might just tell you that, hey, I'm recruiting for marketing people, I don't recruit for someone in computer science. So you want to look for recruiters that, if you connect with them, they can maybe connect you with a like a technical job. And the majority of the time recruiters will have uh, you know uh, a little blurb about them and what they're recruiting for on their own LinkedIn about section. Some of them will tell you that they're recruiting for R&D. Others will tell you that they're recruiting for front end. Others will tell you that they're recruiting for back end. So you obviously want to make meaningful connections based off that. And the last way for me, the last way that I recommend to network would be through two Discord servers that I personally am part of, and I recommend that you guys join them as well, because not only can you learn about different jobs that are available, but both of these Discords actually have a referral section, and it'll be students or people that are working at an X company and are willing to give referrals to that company if you've applied to that company. So cscareer.dev is the first one, and that Discord has a large amount of students both in America and Canada, and they talk about and they have various different tabs for internships and new grad roles, and they will talk about um, you know um, they'll give you the resources, like all the application links to apply to the jobs, and they'll also give you who's working at what job. You can connect with them and see and go from there. There's also a CS majors section Discord server, and that is the same as cscareer.dev. They're both similar. They're just different Discord servers, and I would recommend joining both of them because they're both very good resources to find jobs, to know what the job, like when the job market starts, and to obviously look for referral and track your job process, etc. So that's the end of the presentation in terms of that. If you have questions about anything now, so cold email, messaging, uh, improving your LinkedIn profile, I'll take them right now. And then you guys will also, since you guys actually came to the event itself, you guys will all be emailed a link, which I will send of two Google Docs. And in these Google Docs, there is various recruiters from various companies, and they will tell you, if they're campus recruiters or if they're, university recruiters or engineering recruiters. And basically, all their URLs are here. You can basically, these URL will forward you to their LinkedIn pages, and you can connect with them and see if you can cold message them and see if you can land if they have any open roles. So there's obviously American and Canadian on this one, and I've used this myself and landed a few interviews with various companies. I would recommend that you guys do too. And obviously I did this through cold messaging / emailing. So there's a large amount of companies, from FANG companies to small town companies. Um, Make sure I'll email these two Google Docs to everyone that's attended, and feel free to go on their LinkedIn, try to connect with them, message them, and see if you can actually if they have any open roles that you think you'd be a good fit for. Talk to them about it, and see if you can land a career within that company. So my favorite company that I obviously dream to work for is Apple. So I would look under Apple and just get to anyone that's so technical recruiters are your bread and butter. That's the people that you're looking for. So all these technical recruiters, you want to reach out to them. Even university recruiters, you can reach out to. If anyone else has questions, feel free to unmute and ask the question.
Have you thought about holding LinkedIn critiques, like LinkedIn profile critiques,
Yeah,
along with resume
so
critiques?
we will be having LinkedIn profile critiques and resume critiques. Resume critiques have already been ongoing, so if you guys ever need a resume critique, just DM me and we can set up a time. But I will be having LinkedIn profile critiques starting in September. I will also be trying to set up an event for resumes and how to improve your resumes and how to get them noticed by a recruiter either sometime in September or October. I haven't decided the timeline. I have to talk to the CSS people, and I'll figure that out. But yeah, if you need a LinkedIn critique, say I'm always open. Like you guys can always DM me and hey, I need a resume critique or a LinkedIn critique. Can you just tell me what to improve, and I'll get back to you within a day, at latest.